Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com. Welcome to Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Weishottle, and as always, I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Doug Weishottle. Doug, the NFL draft is in the books. I lost all my prop bets, and I have no idea what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing.
I actually did pretty good on my prop bets. I didn't bet too much on the draft. They expected a huge betting handle. They're talking upwards of $5 million for this year's draft.
Yeah, we haven't gotten the numbers, but we got the numbers for the ratings for the first night of the virtual draft. I guess that's what
I have ratings for all 3 nights.
Okay, all right.
We'll be talking about that.
Oh, we'll be talking about it. Okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was an interesting draft. I actually enjoyed it.
I did. It was pretty good. I like looking into people's homes, which comes out weird, but it was a fun live look into people's houses, and especially the coaches and the GMs and
see their families.
It was very interesting.
I have to admit, I've never been big on the actual spectacle of the draft. I know a lot of people love going to it and all that, and all these events around it.
Yeah.
That's a big thing and a big draw. But I actually liked watching a draft that was basically just straight ahead, no frills, no problems whatsoever. I was expecting a lot of broadcast issues, and they didn't have it.
No, they were very good. I mean, look, it would have been interesting to see Vegas and how they handled the draft and talk about a spectacle. I'm sure that would have been a spectacle, but I guess Vegas is getting it in 2022. I think next year is Cleveland, and then the following year is Vegas. So
yeah, that's make do. Well, they lost. Vegas supposedly lost $250 million from the draft, not having the draft. So,
well, they're losing a lot of money not having casinos right now. So.
Well, that they can't help with the pandemic.
Yeah, we got a great show coming up for you. I get to talk with Matthew Holt, who's the founder and president of U.S. Integrity. They have teamed up with Ohio University to create a certificate program for a sports gambling education curriculum. Very interesting. You will hear all about U.S. Integrity and the partnership they're having with Ohio University.
It was also interesting to hear what he had to say about their work during the NFL draft. This was taped before the draft, everybody. Mm-hmm. So you have him making comments about the NFL draft. Very interesting stuff he was talking about there, too.
And then later on, we'll have a book report where we talk about what's going on in the sports books across the country. But like I said, it's been a busy week in sports, so let's take a trip down the Turnpike. Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Exit 1.
Well, DraftKings stock has started trading. It started trading this past Friday.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, they went public. I saw that. I think I saw it on Twitter.
Again, technically they didn't, according to the SEC rules that are out there. This wasn't an IPO.
Okay, so they legally and strictly speaking, this wasn't an IPO in the classic sense of an IPO.
Exactly.
Is that what we're saying now? Okay.
What happened was this is a merger of three companies, DraftKings, SB Tech, and Double Eagle Acquisition Corp. Since Double Eagle Acquisition Corp is basically a blank check merger acquisition company, they had already been trading on the stock exchange under the label DEAC. But according to the rules that govern this stock situation, the fact that they were investing in DraftKings and SB Tech, the already trading stock DEAC was just relabeled DraftKings.
Okay. All right. So it's
they skipped the IPO segment.
I read this. It's DKNG and it's on NASDAQ, right?
That's correct.
It's on the NASDAQ. Okay.
And they opened and closed around $19 on Friday.
Okay.
$19.35 was their closing price, up about 10%.
All right.
I checked. Well, we're taping this on a Monday morning. I checked pre-open trading. They were up to $21.95 a share.
Okay.
The reason this is interesting is DraftKings now becomes the very first U.S. company that's completely integrated for fantasy sports and sports betting. They have the money with Double Eagle. DraftKings has the fantasy sports and sports betting operations, and SP Tech is doing the tech platform.
Okay.
There's no other company like this in the United States.
All right, because it's all under one roof, right?
Right. They have other ones. Flutter is that way in over in the UK, but right now, only DraftKings is the first U.S. company to do a totally integrated company.
All right.
Exit 2.
Okay,
we have all these leagues doing these esports tournaments.
I actually lost money because I bet on the eSports NASCAR league. What is it called?
iRacing.
iRacing. NASCAR, yeah.
Technically, you call it eNASCAR.
eNASCAR, that's what it's called.
And
okay.
I'm actually enjoying
I gotta tell you,
the races. I'm enjoying the races.
They're pretty fun. I like the fact that, you talk about going into one of the racers' homes or wherever they're doing their driving at. But it was interesting. One guy had a foosball table behind him.
Yeah.
I don't know who that was, but I was like, hey, he's got a foosball table.
And actually, one of the guys had the, in front of his little setup, he had the gecko from Geico, the golden gecko.
Yeah, but I think that was one of his sponsors.
That was, yeah. He had Geico all over
the guy I'm talking about, I don't think had a foosball sponsor.
No,
that'd be cool if he did, but,
But also, you also got to see
Jeff
Gordon and one of the other racers. I can't remember his name. They were in one of the iRacing headquarters. So they were seated together in the same room about 8 feet apart.
Yeah.
And they were doing the race together, joking around during the race and all that. And it's actually fun to see that. But what we're going to be talking about here, the NHL has finally jumped on the esports bandwagon.
Okay.
They have announced the NHL 20 Players Tournament beginning April 30th.
Now, will these actual players from the NHL be playing these games?
These will be the actual player, one or two actual players from the NHL teams, all 31, plus a special guest player, Seattle Seahawks NFL. Seattle Seahawks tight end Luke Wilson will be playing, representing the Seattle expansion team.
I forgot all about this. I know Seattle now has an NHL team. I guess they're still waiting to hear about the name.
Yeah, right now the unconfirmed name is Kraken.
The Krakens?
They had tried Sockeyes, but that was a trademark owned by a writer who does mystery stuff out of the Seattle area.
All right, so
they may work out something with her. Who knows? But right now, the unofficial name is Kraken.
Okay.
And what this is going to be doing, the NHL has announced this tournament. It's going to be broadcast on Twitch, YouTube, as well as Facebook and the NHL Live channel, NHL Network.
Oh, okay, good.
Sorry,
okay.
I misspoke there.
I was wondering where I can see it because I know the NASCAR thing was on Fox, the actual Fox Sports.
Right, and this is going to be on the NHL Network.
This will be on the NHL Network. Okay,
as well
great.
as YouTube, Twitter, and if you're in Canada, you're going to see it on Sportsnet 1.
Okay.
And in the U.S., also NBC Sports Network is going to be airing it.
Okay.
This is a tournament series, so they got the entire series.
So you have the I'm curious to see the NHL and NBC Sports Network. They also have the regional ones. I know we have the NBC Sports.
This will be the national NBC Sports Network.
This will be the national one. Okay.
Esports organization ESL Gaming is producing the Players Challenge, the entire series, be played on only PlayStation 4 versions of NHL 20.
I'm curious after the lockdown is done and the coronavirus has passed us, I wonder if this is really capturing an audience that it can sustain even when actual live sports are being played. I mean, it'd be interesting to see.
What will be more interesting to see how the NHL reacts once regular sports comes back, because they actually got a sponsor for this, a major sponsor, Honda.
Okay. Yeah.
And NHL has historically been lagging in terms of advertising revenue and sponsorship revenue than the other big leagues, than the other major leagues. This is their first big sponsor for something like a little offshoot of the league. And I'm actually curious to see if some of these leagues continue the eSport tournaments after this goes.
Well, that's what I'm wondering about. I mean, they're all talking about, especially here in New Jersey, that online casinos are seeing a boom, and they might have captured an audience which will last longer than this quarantine. I'm curious to see if these esports that are being televised and played by actual players will find an audience even past this pandemic, and see if it can sustain something.
Well, people seem to be enjoying MLB The Show, esports tournaments. I
saw
the
a little bit of that
NBA 2K
too.
tournament was fun to watch for some people. The betting side of it, we'll see exactly what happens with that stuff. But again, some of these things are pre-taped, and you never know.
There's a Kentucky Derby thing too, right?
Kentucky Derby's doing a charity race on May 2nd.
All right.
So we'll see what that happens there too.
Exit 3.
As you teased earlier, unintentionally teased,
okay,
the NFL draft not only did big numbers for sports betting, it also pulled in huge ratings, record ratings.
Well, I know I heard the first night of the NFL draft was huge.
Well,
enormous.
Again, the NFL always comes through for the United States in terms of ratings.
Yeah.
No matter what they want to say about ratings are down here and there, they never really are, because digital outlets are picking up the slack. First night of the NFL draft, 15.6 million viewers, up 13% from last year, which was a record audience too.
All right.
They last year got 11.4 million viewers. Again, they did 15.6 million. The broadcast was on ESPN, ABC, NFL Network, ESPN Deportes, and all the digital streams. I thought it was interesting the way they actually combined ESPN and NFL Network to do this.
I just watched ESPN, so
it was the same broadcast.
It was the same broadcast.
Same
okay,
broadcast.
I just
because half the commentators they had on were NFL Network guys, the other half were ESPN guys.
Okay,
it was actually kind of interesting to watch that.
Like I said, I like looking into the GMs and the coaches' homes, and it was very interesting.
Well, so actually, I thought this was interesting. The peak audience happened between 8:45 and 9 p.m. Eastern time, when Miami was on the clock.
What the hell was going on in Vrabel's house?
I don't know. That was just a weird scene.
Weird stuff, man. I wonder if that's like normal.
I hope not.
Someone should have closed the bathroom door, by the way.
I've never seen a Frozone costume before.
Okay, yeah, but behind him, the bathroom door.
Well, supposedly that was cleared up. That wasn't somebody on the toilet.
Okay, who was it?
It was somebody sitting in another room on a couch.
Okay.
And he got up. And you could see it. He wasn't sitting on a toilet.
Right.
It's funnier if he's sitting on a toilet.
A lot of people were tweeting that. It's like, is some dude on the toilet?
I think it would have been funnier if that was the case.
But that was a pretty weird scene.
Yeah. And again, the highest point for the first night was when Miami was picking to see what happened with Tua.
Yeah. There was a bet. There was a $14,000 bet that Miami would take Tua.
Yeah.
And I think he didn't win a lot, but he won, but
it was interesting to see the reactions, because I noticed William Hill put out a statement that said all their betting in terms of the prop bets for this year's were up a lot.
Oh yeah, sure.
And I think everyone was starved enough for real sports.
This was the first time I ever bet on the NFL draft.
First time for me too.
I've never bet on the NFL draft, and you know what? I did so poorly on it. It might be the last time I bet on the NFL draft.
Well, here we go. Rounds 2 and 3.
Yep.
Actually, let's just run quickly through these. The entire draft, all 3 days, averaged 8.4 million viewers. Previous high was 6.2 million viewers last year as well. Top 10 metered markets were interesting. Columbus, Cleveland, and then Philly and Kansas City. They were the top markets for the entire draft. The first night got Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and everyone knows why.
Yep.
Because Cincinnati had the first pick. Draftathon, their fundraising campaign, actually generated a good audience as well. They had a total of 26 million minutes and 7 million viewers watched for the first day. Now, this was their little giveaways and, auctions and all that stuff. Actually, they had a really cool one at the end of the first round. I think the Goodell announced it.
Yeah.
They were giving away a seat with him in his man cave or in his basement to watch a Monday Night Football game.
Yeah,
They auctioned that off.
I was watching that. I think it was Barstool Sports, I think, had a big push to get Dave Portnoy to I think he did I might be wrong, but I think he actually did bid on it. So
A lot of people bid on it.
I hope he does win it, because can you imagine Dave Portnoy with Goodell in Goodell's basement? It'd be fascinating. That's good TV.
Talk about ratings.
Oh, ratings be off the roof.
Exit 4.
And if the PGA Tour signs off on this because of the health concerns and this coronavirus and social distancing issues, we will be having the match, part 2.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
Woods versus Mickelson with friends.
Yeah.
They are going to be teamed up with Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning.
Yep. Yep.
Again, it's going to be aired on TNT broadcast television this time, not
Do they have
just
a date
streamed.
for this, or
No date yet.
Okay.
And actually, the teams aren't even set yet.
All right.
According to Phil Mickelson, who leaked it over to SI and a couple other places, the teams right now look like Mickelson Brady versus Manning Woods.
Yep. I got to tell you, that was so much fun. I guess it was a year and a half ago, I guess it was. I think, was it over Thanksgiving weekend?
It was actually right at the start of online sports betting.
Yeah, that was so much fun to bet on. We went to a bar. We're not going to tell you the name of the bar because I'm not sure if he was supposed to stream it or not, because he was streaming it on his computer and he was projecting it on a big projector, and it was fantastic just sitting there. I mean, you were betting on every hole. It was so much fun.
Well, you're going to have more fun.
Oh, good. I hope so.
If this gets approved by the PGA Tour, supposedly it's going to get pushed through.
So, and to bet on it, I guess it has to be approved by the different state.
Well, it's
gaming.
golf.
Well,
if golf is allowed.
So you're saying as long as it's
a
allowed
PGA
by the
Tour
PGA,
endorsed thing,
it will
automatically
be allowed
allowed
by
yeah.
the gaming commissions.
There
of
may
state?
be some examination of it, but from what I understand, if a PGA Tour signs off on it, according to a lot of the rules that are drafted out there, all PGA Tour events. So
I hope so, because
cross your fingers.
That was so much fun. So much fun.
And already at the announcement that the match will happen.
Are you going to say we have odds already?
We have odds from FanDuel, at the very least at FanDuel. The Tiger Manning team are the favorites.
Okay.
If that team happens. Again, that's not confirmed.
All right.
At minus 220.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the Mickelson Tom Brady combination would be set at plus 175. So slight odds favorite to Tiger and Peyton.
All right.
If that's the team. Again, we don't know. But thanks to Phil, we do know.
And today's Drip Down the Turnpike was brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store, available in over 95 cities across North America. Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with the side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And I'll get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with Drizzly.com. Drizzly.com.
And to get in touch with Turnpike, you can call or text us, 609-512-5910. At Turnpike Sports is our social media handles on the Facebook and Twitter pages. info@turnpikesportsradio.com is our email address.
And stick around after this. I'm going to be talking with the president and founder of U.S. Integrity, Matthew Holt. U.S. Integrity has teamed up with Ohio University to create a certification program for a sports gambling education curriculum, and he's going to tell us all about it. Then after that, we're going to have the Turnpike Sports Book Report, so stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Yeah, you, come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore. Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-515-1558. 800-515-1558.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. Sports betting for many states and for most people in this country is a new endeavor. One organization that is determined to keep the sports betting business transparent and fraud-free is U.S. Integrity. And recently, U.S. Integrity has teamed up with Ohio University to create a certification program for a sports gambling education curriculum. And to tell us all about it, we have Matthew Holt, who is the president and founder of U.S. Integrity. Matthew, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure to be on the show. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great, and it's so great to have you on the show. I think we talked off air, and this is the first time U.S. Integrity has been on the show. We mean to get you on, and it's a great time for you to come on. But for those of the people who aren't familiar with U.S. Integrity, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Well, I'll give you the kind of quick 50,000-foot overview. Essentially, we work with regulators, operators, and teams, universities, conferences, leagues, etc., to provide independent, conflict-free, technology and data-driven game integrity, fraud prevention, and compliance-based services. Essentially, what we do is we look for any abnormalities within the wagering market and correlations with those wagering abnormalities with any event abnormalities, whether it be insider information, people divulging locker room information on players' injury or eligibility statuses, potential match fixing or game manipulation by players, monitoring of officials. We do career behavioral patterns on referees, so we go back and extract all of the data we can throughout the history of each official, so we can come up with a career behavioral pattern for that official, so we can determine if they're acting abnormally compared to their own career biases, or if they're just showing the biases that they always have throughout their careers. And then we take all that data and we run it through for red flags and any correlations. And then when needed, we work with the regulators to do investigations on such. And we also work with the leagues on player and referee safety, mental well-being, and education and awareness.
I got to tell you, hearing that, I know what you guys done, but just hearing that, it seems like such a daunting task that you guys have, and it's such an important role in the sports betting business. I mean, with techniques or what devices do you use to go about keeping the sports betting business transparent and fair for everyone who's want to place a bet or who's in the sports betting business?
Yeah, fortunately for us, we have great partners on every side. You know, we work with regulators in states like Pennsylvania and Nevada and Mississippi and Colorado, and we work with some of the best leagues in the NBA and the Pac-12, the Big 12, the SEC, the West Coast Conference, universities like Pittsburgh and Penn State University, and then really great operators, you know, U.S. Bookmaking, Betfred, and so when you combine the fact that, you know, the tools that we use that are really important is we get bet level data from the operators. We're able to see bets actually being placed. Thus, you know, lines move for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes people move their lines just because other people in the market are moving their lines. So there's not even any bets taken. So actually being able to see the bets come in, understand what's actually being wagered on an event, who it's, you know, when it's being wagered, why they potentially might be wagering at that time, and then working with the league folks to making sure that, you know, when was information available if there was an injury or a potential suspension. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's the key for us, to gather as much data as we can. And because we don't have the conflicts of some other folks, because we strictly do game integrity and fraud prevention services, the operators are comfortable giving us that betting data. Leagues are comfortable giving us event and statistical data. And operators, regulators across the country are comfortable working directly with us. And at the end of the day, that's what you need to provide the best game integrity services, is you need the operators, the people actually taking the bets, the regulators, and the league folks all working harmoniously. And I think that's what we've established at U.S. Integrity, and that's our biggest asset.
You know, it's a strange time right now due to the coronavirus. A lot of the retail sports books are having a downtime with no U.S. sports being played. But, you know, the business of sports betting goes on. But are you just as busy now as if the whole U.S. didn't go on quarantine?
We are. You know, we're fortunate here because we have a state like Colorado who's about to launch May 1. We're helping operators there get established with integrity services, as Colorado has an integrity mandate in their regulations stating that operators need to use an independent third-party provider. The NFL draft betting has been amazing. So there's a lot to do on our end. We just launched a brand new education curriculum in conjunction and partnership with Ohio University. So between that and the Colorado launch and the immense amount of popularity and betting we're seeing on the NFL draft with not much else going on, we're actually pretty busy. And what a non-traditional sport or event like the NFL draft means is that sports books are going to be offering bets that they've never offered before. And, you know, there's an opportunity for them to offer some props that have some wording that makes it impossible or not consumer friendly. So we try to work with the operators to make sure that they're offering all these hundreds of different NFL draft props in a responsible manner. Regulators probably haven't seen this type of prop betting on an event like the NFL draft before, so we're working with regulators to look for what patterns that they should look for. And then, of course, we're working with leagues and teams and individual players to help them understand that because of the significant amount of dollars that are going to be bet on this NFL draft, there's going to be people poking around trying to get that insider information so they could take advantage of it in the betting market. So a lot of education and awareness around the NFL draft betting, a really exciting launch in Colorado coming up May 1, and in early May, the launch of the partnership with Ohio University and U.S. Integrity for the SGE education curriculum. So thankfully, we've been able to stay pretty busy.
You know, I'm glad you brought up the non-traditional sporting aspect of betting, because I'm sitting here in New Jersey, and a lot of the online sports books are offering things I'm not familiar with, like hockey from Belarus or ping pong. Does the fact that they're offering these sports from a different country and these non-traditional sports, does that present a special challenge for U.S. Integrity in monitoring the fairness of the betting process? Or, you know what? One sport is just like another sport, and the same process, you guys use the same process for each sport.
No, each sport certainly is different. We're looking for different triggers in each sport, which could, end up being integrity issues. Some of the these lower, to your point, whether it's Belarusian or Turkish soccer or basketball or, Asian ping pong, while they are available on some of the regulated betting apps in the Northeast and here in Nevada, what we're seeing is that there's not actually very much betting handle on them. The American sports betting fan isn't exactly gravitating toward it, and a lot of it is it's hard to watch some of this stuff. We did see some interest in things like the NBA horse tournament, the NBA 2K tournament, which ended up not being offered by any regulated books in the U.S., but mostly by offshore or illicit sports books. But we're just not seeing the handle on those things. And without any betting handle, it's hard to have an integrity issue if there's no wagering. So while those events are being offered, I can tell you that the wagering activity we've seen on some of them are very small. The first event that we've seen significant, real material, significant betting activity on since Corona started is certainly the NFL draft.
I'm curious. I mean, being a gaming attorney myself, I spend most of my time talking to other gaming attorneys and accountants and casino business people. When it comes to U.S. integrity, who makes up your staff? Are they attorneys or accountants or computer engineers? What kind of disciplines are involved in U.S. integrity?
Sure. So we kind of have a really good diverse mix of folks here. The large majority of employees are actually data analysts. We need people that are able to grab large amounts of data, sift through it, find those abnormalities, and when they do find abnormalities, identify the ones that really need to be investigated further. And then we have a really strong IT team. Our CTO, Rudy Menendez, has a long-time data background working with sports betting, including working with a company called Sports Data that later became Sport Radar US, which is a very big company. So we have a really solid IT group in terms of being able to handle large sections of betting data and aggregate that data out, parse it out into meaningful reports. And then, myself, I bring a long-time sports betting background. I've spent every day of my post-collegiate career in sports betting. I worked over 7 years at Cantor Gaming, which was at the time the largest licensed sportsbook operator in the United States, the first regulated sportsbook operator to offer betting on a mobile application. And then our COO has a long history in the financial services background and the compliance sector. So we think we bring a really diverse group that has that expertise in sports betting, as well as that expertise in data, as well as an expertise in compliance services.
One of the great things about being in New Jersey is I had the good fortune to going to a lot of the opening of the sports books around the state, and inevitably at these events, after the ribbon is cut, you hear conversations in the back saying, okay, now what do I do? Do I just bet on who I think will win the game and things like that? For people who are new for sports betting, how important is it for them to know that the sports betting business is on the up and up, and how important is it to see the transparency of the sports betting business?
I mean, it's so important. It is so critical. And with the money that is starting to being wagered legally, I mean, the expectation was that there would be $100 to $150 billion wagered legally in the United States in 2020. Now that we missed March Madness, such a keystone wagering event, those numbers are going to be significantly reduced. But I think with Colorado and Washington State and Illinois and Michigan that never really got a chance to get going this year, with a full NFL season under their belts going into 2021, we can easily project that in 2021 we'll probably see $150 billion to $200 billion wagered legally in the United States, which is starting to approach financial services market. And if you look at how important these things are in the financial services market, I mean, they sent Martha Stewart to jail for insider trading. That shows you how important it is to the marketplace that they take every single aspect of it, be secure, be on the up and up. Sports betting's no different. At the end of the day, we need to treat this the same as we would, the financial services marketplace, and ensuring that the events themselves are secure and free of any type of, collaborations and nefarious activity, that the officials involved in the events are all on the up and up and free of any nefarious activity on their end, that administrators, coaches, trainers, equipment managers aren't using insider information for the intent to profit off sports betting. So there's so many aspects to it, but I think it's really, really important at the end of the day that the consumer knows that when they walk in there and make a trade, aka a bet, on a sporting event, that every aspect of that sporting event is on the up and up.
You know, the fact that sports betting is such a new business in many parts of this country is the reason why I love the fact that you guys teamed up with Ohio University to create a curriculum on sports betting. How did this partnership come about?
Well, I mean, Ohio University runs the most prestigious sports administration master's program in the entire country. And what we found out by working with such prestigious conferences and universities as the Pac-12 and the SEC and the Big 12 was that most of these administrators at these universities had never dealt with sports betting before, no fault of their own. In fact, they were told by the NCAA and everyone involved in collegiate athletics their entire career that not only was sports betting bad, but they should avoid it at every single instance. And if they don't avoid it and get caught up in it in any way, it could mean their eligibility or ability to work in sports betting ever again could be on the line. So most of these people avoided sports betting at all costs throughout their entire career. And suddenly, and I think Bob Bolin, the integrity officer from Penn State, said it wonderfully when we were recording some of the material for the curriculum. He said, you know, my whole thing is, so sports betting's been dumped on your desk. What do you do now? You know, if you're the integrity officer or the, sports governance folks at some of these universities, what do you do? The compliance officer, how do you handle it? You've been told to avoid it forever. Now it's here. It's in your backyard. It's on your desk. It's your job to protect your student athletes, to educate your student athletes, to educate your coaches and trainers and equipment managers and associate coaches, and find out what it means when you're playing at venues that have sports betting. What are the new dangers? What are the risks? What are the mental health aspects we have to deal with student athletes anymore? We saw it with Maceo Teague at Baylor this year, where Baylor gets a huge road win by 8 points on the road, and Maceo Teague, their star guard, struts onto campus the next day thinking he's going to be a hero, but he missed a couple of free throws at the end of the game that would have covered the point spread. And instead of walking on campus to hero the next day, he was walking on campus to getting all kinds of threats made at him and harassed by student athletes who bet on the point spread and lost. And so there's a whole new wave of mental health aspects we need to deal with student athletes. You know, player and referee protection from bettors who are angry that they had lost wagers. There's just so much going on. And what history tells us, really, if we look at all of the scandals over the last 20 to 25 years in sports betting, San Diego University, Toledo, Northwestern, Arizona State, Tim Donahue, in each and every case, the perpetrator was getting such nominal amounts of money, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 or less, and in many cases just simply being extorted. Point shaving and match fixing in the United States, what history tells us is these aren't multi-million-dollar schemes put together by the mob or all these other people. A lot of times it's collegiate athletes who get stuck up in a jam, who just need a few $1,000s, or professional athletes or officials that are being extorted into doing things. So we need to use really refined processes to make sure we're catching these people, because again, it's not the multi-million-dollar scam that a lot of people have made it out to be.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
We like to think that we live in a nice, safe neighborhood. The truth is that a burglary occurs every 13 seconds, and homes without a security system have a 300% greater chance of getting broken into. How many homes in your neighborhood were robbed yesterday? You need to start protecting your home and family today. Call now to get state-of-the-art protection. To keep your family and property safe, call the number on your screen now. Representatives are standing by to assist you.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. Dave Weishaupt with you here. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with the president and founder of U.S. Integrity, Matthew Holt. Now, what is the goal of the sports betting curriculum? I mean, for students who enroll in the program, what skills will they be able to learn and apply in the sports betting business?
Again, to start off with the sports administrator, he needs to understand what it means to have sports betting thrown on his desk. What does he have to do with student athletes, with his coaches, with his team, with awareness program, with education? So our first and foremost goal is to educate the administrator. Then it's to educate the next wave of administrators. Let's face it, people that are graduating now with a master's degree in sports administration, this next wave of student athletes, they're going to not only have to understand sports betting, but embrace and engage with it. It's going to be an engagement tool that they use for financial and revenue purposes at the universities within a few years. So having a really good understanding of this is going to be important. And then we're trying to, think of the amount of attorneys who are getting involved in the sports betting space one way or another, whether it's through corporate partnerships with other companies or trying to represent operators or new licensees or a new service provider in the industry. Understanding all aspects of the industry is so important and vital to these attorneys, which is why we're trying to make the course CLE certified in most states so that attorneys in these states can use this course to not only get their CLE credits, but get educated in a space that they may not be fully educated before. Because even if they're not touching sports betting now, chances are eventually they will at some point, again, whether it's through some type of media partnership, corporate partnership, in-stadium venue partnership, or whether they're trying to represent a new licensee or service provider in that state. So we're trying to hit the whole gambit of people. There's just not enough education out there. We're talking about an industry that by 1 year from now, we expect to do potentially $200 billion worth of handle and is sports-centric. So there's a lot of people interested in getting into the space, generating revenue in the space. How can I get engaged in the space? But yet there's a real lack of education about the space. So we think this curriculum is going to be real important and kind of hit the entire gambit of people associated with sports betting right out of the gate.
Now, as I said in the introduction, it's a 3-part certification program. What does that entail in order to get a certificate from Ohio University?
So, the first part of it is sort of an intro to sports betting. What are things that you probably need to know, understanding regulations. Then it gets into the second part of it, which is sports administrators and people that have to, deal with it directly right now, and what's important to understand. What are people in the space doing about it right now that never had to deal with it before? And then the third part of their curriculum gets into things like criminal versus civil violations, especially in areas like insider information. In some cases, it's criminal, but you also have to prove intent. In many cases, it's simply a policy violation, helping people understand what the difference is between criminal activities within sports betting and civil and policy issues, which may affect a player's eligibility, but not have committed a criminal act to go to jail. And then this is just course one. We're trying to do advanced courses for operators, regulators, legal folks down the road. So, again, we're just trying to do our part, do our best, partner with the very best people we can to educate the entire marketplace about sports betting regulation, the licensing process, what it means to have to deal with it, how do you use it as an engagement tool, what's the difference between a civil and a criminal act. And we think Ohio University was the perfect partner for us to launch this course with.
Do you see mainly business students, people from the sports world, or people from the software field getting involved in these classes? Because I got to tell you, the way you're describing it, it seems to me that this type of curriculum could draw from people from many different disciplines.
I agree. I think it draws from a really large pool. This isn't a hot tub here. It's an Olympic-sized swimming pool in terms of the amount of people that we expect to draw from here. And to your point, I think it starts with collegiate administrators, both active now and ones that are entering the collegiate sports administration landscape. But I think, because of the CLE certification, it quickly extends to attorneys. And I think, to your point, if anyone who's going to be working in sports betting, and you may not completely understand how you're going to work in sports betting yet, but you may work at Pepsi right now in charge of corporate partnerships, never worked in sports betting ever, but I'm sure Pepsi, as the company, is interested in sports betting because there's going to be corporate partnerships with casinos, venues that offer sports betting teams. So they need to understand it. So at this point, I think the amount of people that actually are affected by sports betting goes so far beyond what people normally think of when they think of who needs education on sports betting.
Now, who's going to be some of the instructors for the sports betting program? And also, will this primarily be done online?
So it's an online course. Go at your own pace. CLE certified. Again, we talked about that. But for the very first course, we have some guest lecturers that include Sarah Slane, the former head of the American Gaming Association, AGA Sports Betting Task Force, Bob Bolin, the integrity officer from Penn State, Mike Hamrick, the athletic director from West Virginia, the commissioner of the MAC conference, the Mid-American Conference, myself, I'm speaking on there. Carl Benison, the former chief enforcement officer for the Nevada Gaming Control Board, does some great job lecturing and adding content. So I think we have a really good cast of speakers here to hit from the regulatory standpoint, the sports administration standpoint, the head athletic director or commissioner of a conference standpoint, the sports betting expert who actually worked in and ran a regulated sports book for a decade. So I think we have a great mix for kind of this first 3-course curriculum. And then as we continue to grow, we hope to continue to offer the best, the brightest, and the most applicable guest lecturers that we can add.
Now, how can people enroll in this program if they're interested? And does the program have a start date, or can they get involved at any point in the year?
Sure. So you can go to our website at www.usintegrity.com, and you'll find a link to get more information on the Ohio, the SGE curriculum, which hasn't launched yet. We expect it to launch in early May sometime. Our original plan was to launch this curriculum in conjunction with the NACDA conference, which is the big collegiate compliance director conference, which is going to be held in Las Vegas in mid-June this year. Like so many conferences, that conference got canceled due to Corona, and with with so much demand for education now, we decided to push that June launch up and launch in mid-May instead. But if you go to www.usintegrity.com, you can click on the link, go to SGE, sign up for the newsletter, get all the information you need about signing up, and when the curriculum will actually launch here in 3 to 4 weeks.
Matthew, we're running out of time, but I want to ask you about the current situation with the coronavirus and the impact on the sports betting industry. From your discussions with people in the industry, what are the sportsbooks doing now to somehow minimize the present loss of business?
Well, really tough times for so many of them. I mean, that's a difficult question. We're seeing so many employees furloughed. Some of these states, like I know Colorado has given an opportunity for a lot of these operators to continue working, and they're trying to get licensing and other regulatory instances, integrations done with integrity providers like us, so that when sports betting does really resume on a normal basis, they're ahead of the curve and they've taken care of all this administrative work that comes along with sports betting in a regulated landscape. But I could tell you it has had a huge impact. I mean, just think of everybody's revenue, including ours, which has almost gone down to zero. Most of these sportsbook operators are operating on a zero revenue basis right now as well. And they're doing as best they can to keep as many employees as they can, get as much administrative and licensing work done as they can. And we just try to help them as much as we can right now. But the impact sure will be felt. And I could say that when sports return to normalcy, unfortunately, we probably won't see 100% return in terms of rehiring of all employees. It's because of the effect Corona's had has just been so impactful. And, we just say our prayers for them every day, try to help them as much as we can, but I don't think anybody has been as impacted as negatively from a revenue basis, certainly as the gaming industry has throughout the entire Corona pandemic thus far.
In the coming months, what do you see the sports betting business looking like? I mean, what are the lasting effects of this pandemic? Do you think we'll see more mobile sports betting, especially from states who as until now has not allowed mobile sports betting? What do you think that landscape will look like in the future?
I I absolutely think that we're going to see more mobile sports betting, and I think that you're going to see states that didn't offer mobile sports betting prior considering it at this point. I mean, we're probably going to see some level of sports without crowds initially, so I think the casino sports books sort of have to be the same thing. You can't have these long lines of people standing next to each other in a casino sports book. I think you're going to see more casinos take advantage of kiosks that they can spread without spread around throughout the sports book area so that people aren't as congested into one area. That's helpful. And I think you're going to see more and more states and more sports book operators trying to offer mobile sports betting solutions. For a lot of reasons anyway. I mean, let's face it, the mobile solutions cost the operators a lot less than the brick and mortars do to run. And now that we know that they're also a lot safer and healthier, I think you're going to see a lot of states open up their regulations surrounding mobile sports betting, and thus the amount of operators offering it will increase. And one good news that we're starting to really see in the mobile sports betting space is the technology is getting really good really quick. A lot of these people have spent a lot of money, a lot of time really upgrading the technology, and the consumer experience when it comes to mobile sports betting is as good as it's ever been in the U.S. and only getting better every single day.
Matt, before I let you go, can you give out the website for U.S. Integrity so people can come and keep up to date about what you're doing, and also give the website again where people can register for the Sports Gambling Education Certificate Program you're running with Ohio University?
Sure. So it's www.usintegrity.com is the website. There's a link on our website that you can click on that'll take you to the SGE launch, which will kind of help you learn a little bit more about the SGE program, how you can sign up, when it's going to launch. Get all the news there. And look, if you want to get some great monitoring of the NFL draft props and what sports books are offering what props and how are the odds moving, we actually have opened up our dashboards for the first time to the general public, only to be able to see odds and monitoring on the NFL draft props. If you go to www.usidashboard.com, you can look at all the different NFL draft props, what the different books are offering, and how the odds are moving.
Matthew Holt, president and founder of U.S. Integrity, thank you for coming on and telling us all about the great work U.S. Integrity is doing and your partnership with Ohio University and their sports gambling education curriculum. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care.
You too. Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. To get the coverage you need, call the number on the screen now.
Turnpike Sports Book Report.
And the Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sports book. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E, and you get a risk-free bet up to $300 and $20 bonus dollars at BorgataCasino.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay, a couple news and notes from around the country. Let's start off with New Jersey. They've added professional bull riding to the list of approved events for sports betting.
Really? I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yep. That was announced by...
Another sport I have no idea how to bet on.
Got to give a hat tip to David Purdom of ESPN for putting that out there. There's a big PBR tournament coming.
So is that official now, or that we have to stay tuned for that one?
Stay tuned. I haven't seen an official announcement from the DGE, but you can usually trust David over at ESPN.
Okay.
Also, by David, over in Nevada, Superbook will be reopening its sports betting app on May 7th.
Okay.
Hours will be depending upon what sports are being scheduled.
I really thought, about a year ago, I thought Superbook was eyeing New Jersey. I know I was hoping they'd jump into New Jersey to really do something amazing here, and they still could, but because we met those guys from Superbook in I forgot where it was. I think it was
North America
in Boston, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ice North America.
They gave me a phone charger.
Speaking of Superbook, they're one of the sports betting companies that are going to be launching in Colorado. Date is still set at May 1st.
Okay.
And a lot of people were wondering what types of sports they were going to be offering because there's really nothing going on. I took a look at some of the sports being offered, and again, our good friends over at Sports Handle and US Bets put this all together in terms of what sports they're going to be offering, and I was surprised. Mm-hmm. Besides the normal offerings, whenever they happen again, they're going to be offering Pesapallo.
I don't know what that is.
It's a baseball-type game played in Finland.
Okay.
Also, they will be offering a sport called bandy or floorball.
All right.
That's a version of hockey. Floorball is a version of hockey played on the actual floor, with 5 players and a goalkeeper.
Okay.
Now, I've actually seen some floorball played on ESPN Ocho.
Let me tell you something. It seems like the kind of thing those games you play in physical education classes in high school or grammar school. Because I remember having plastic, like hockey sticks.
Well, it's
a
floor hockey.
Ball in
Call
the gym.
it floor hockey.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
What is it called now?
Bandy.
Bandy.
Or floorball.
Apparently, we actually played bandy in grammar school.
And the reason these sports they're Finnish sports, and I did not know that there were over 10,000 people of Finnish descent in Colorado.
All right. Hey,
yep.
okay.
And 6
they know their market.
6 Finnish companies have offices there. They're also going to have 29 betting options for the Gaelic games.
All right.
Include soccer and hurling. They're going to be offering odds on snooker, cricket, darts, beach volleyball, badminton, the Olympics, the Winter X Games, as well as eSports and fantasy sports.
Okay.
So Colorado's got a whole smorgasbord. I guess is that Swedish?
I don't know.
Not Finnish?
I think so.
Whatever.
I don't know.
But they're going to have a whole boatload of other sports to offer betting options on. A couple other news and notes.
One thing coming out of this quarantine is you're learning about
other
sports. I mean, I'm doing terrible betting on these things. I went the Belarus hockey or
darts,
Belarus soccer.
Darts is
I
interesting
lost
to me.
money on. Ping pong, I lost money on. The draft, I lost money on. I mean, geez.
I have to admit, watching the darts streaming live on Bet Rivers and also Play Sugar Houses, they just have the webcams focused on the dartboard.
Dartboard, yeah.
You just see the dart coming in from off
You don't
screen.
see a guy throwing the dart. You just see the dartboard and seeing where the dart
Very
hits.
simple hookup. You just see the dartboard.
Yep.
A couple other news and notes. New Hampshire has allowed betting on e-racing.
All right.
They actually, their first race this past weekend was their first day of e-racing betting.
Okay.
Arkansas has announced that they had 1.59 million total sports betting handle in March. That's a decrease of 2.7 million from February. That's all COVID related. Total revenue was $222,000. That's half of what they brought in February. Delaware, they had a year-on-year fall for March in revenue. But interestingly enough, the revenue they did bring in March, $571,000, was higher than they did last month in February, the previous month. So go figure that. They had a year-on-year fall in terms of revenue, but a month-on-month gain in revenue. Oklahoma, the governor just signed a gaming deal with 2 tribes there. It's a 15-year gaming deal. It includes casino gaming as well as sports betting. What's happening here is no sports betting is going to be pushed just yet because there's a legal question whether it's allowed in the state, according to state law. So they got to deal with that. But the tribes are happy with this.
There's still questions about this, huh?
Boy, well, the one thing the tribes are happy about, what happened under these new gaming compacts, they're paying less in fees. They're paying a quarter less in fees unless they expand. And if they expand, then they got to pay 25% more. So it'll be interesting to see this. Oklahoma has sports betting on the books. There's no Oklahoma sports betting live yet. And we'll see what happens down the road for that.
Okay. And the Turnpike Sports Book Report was brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sports book. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E, and you get a risk-free bet up to $300 and 20 bonus dollars at BorgataCasino.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I just want to say thank you to Matthew Holt and everyone over at U.S. Integrity for coming on the show and doing the interview, talking about their sports betting gambling curriculum.
Very interesting.
Very necessary, too.
Absolutely. Well, that'll do it for us this week. Stay home, stay safe. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.